Last year on January 1st, did you make any New Year's resolutions? Did you say you were gonna have the physique of a Gymshark athlete? You were gonna read 500 books and, you know, just as a cute hobby, you were gonna cure world poverty. This time last year, I made a video on this very topic, even wearing this exact top. I made a video reviewing my past year and setting goals for this current year. In today's video, I'm gonna review the goals that I set for this year, which might be very tragic. I'm gonna reflect on what I've learned about myself this year, and then we're gonna manifest the hell out of 2022 while being realistic. My main goal for next year is to be a bad bitch, to be a peaceful, bad bitch. Guys, 2022 is my year, it is your year, it is our year, it is the UnJaded family's year. The last 2 years have just been a roller coaster of emotions and unexpected events as per Miss Rona. Next year we're probably gonna still have some unexpected events, but I'm manifesting clarity, peace, life direction, balance, all of that good stuff. Today I'm using my favorite tracking system software in the entire world, and that is Notion. Today's video is very kindly sponsored by Notion. This all-in-one powerhouse of an application is where I write my to-do lists, it's where I write my university notes, I keep myself accountable to goals, I write my daily journal, plan my entire life on Notion. I absolutely love it, and while it can seem really overwhelming at first, I promise you that spending 1 hour learning how to use Notion is potentially the best investment of an hour you could give yourself for next year. I also use a lot of Amelia Crona's templates, and I'll leave them down below. Okay, so how can you look into next year without first reflecting on this year? You can't manifest the things that you want to bring into your life without understanding what's currently in your life. Things that you want to get rid of, things that serve you and you want more of, and that requires some reflection. So last year, my goals for 2021 were mainly themed around mental health, people and relationships, and writing my book. Oh, let's have a look. In my Life Hub, I have it right here, 2021, goals and reflections. I really like to break down my goals into different aspects of my life. So fitness and health, skills, learning, YouTube, personal projects, academic, and then I have my reflections. I'm very happy to say I did yoga or meditation literally almost every day, every few days, at least a few times a week. It kind of just feels like a part of my lifestyle now, so it didn't feel like a strained habit that I was trying really hard to punch into my life. It just makes me feel like a better human, so I do it. I was a lot better at taking my vitamins, and I had this really useful tracker on Notion which I used until that became more of a habit. So here, every time I took B12 or vitamin D, I could just tick off the day in my little Notion tracker on my today page. This year I was fortunate enough to study in both South Korea in Seoul and in Berlin in Germany. So a lot of my skills-based goals were around language and culture. In the summer I did a 3-month Lingoda language course on German. That changed my life in language abilities. I went from Hallo and Dankeschön to actually being able to understand most German basic conversations. I'd always order in German in shops. Dutch, tragic. I didn't even look at Dutch. I swear German and Dutch are so similar that me looking at Dutch again is like sacrificing my newfound German. So I found I had to like separate them in my brain. There was no space for Dutch this year. Read Hangul. I can officially read Hangul, which is the written language of Korean, which feels like such a flex. Every time you go to a Korean restaurant, you're like, I can read that. Could have a basic conversation, and by basic I mean very basic. One time in Seoul, a man in a corner shop, he called out to me, "Onul otigayo," horrible pronunciation, Jade. And in the moment he said it, I had absolutely no idea what he was saying, and I sort of just like, "Nee, nee," which means like yes. I went outside into the street and I kept replaying it in my head. "Onul otigayo, onul otigayo," and then it clicked. I was like, Jade, you do know this. Onul means today, oti means where, ga means go, and then yo just makes it formal. And I was like, oh my gosh, he was asking me where are you going today? And it was just this happy moment of being like, wow, all those Korean lessons I did online, all that learning finally feels worth something. And there are a lot of little moments like that in Korea. So yes, I feel like I achieved that. Learn a K-pop dance. I'm sorry to report, I'm still uncoordinated, and I just didn't do that. I did not do that. I am in awe of anyone who can dance. I should do that, Jade, come on. And ukulele, absolutely tragic. I've hardly picked it up, if I'm honest. I play like the same songs that I know and have not really learned anything else, which is sad. I should do more of that. Coming on to learning, I did learn a lot more about Korean culture and history. It's so cool because I've never studied philosophy, and one of my goals for this year was to read 3 philosophers. This semester I ended up taking a philosophy elective alongside my other classes just for fun, and that was amazing. I got to study everything from Confucius to Locke to objective and subjective morality, loads of philosophers, and so I think that has really expanded my worldview, my conceptions of ethics, and yeah, that's been learnt about this year. Explore my spiritual beliefs more. I did indeed read an Eckhart Tolle book. I read A New Earth. I even made a video on it because it was so life-changing, and even though I read it at the start of the year, I still think a lot about his conceptions of spirituality. Give it a read. YouTube, I really like that I put, do not sacrifice the feeling of community and wholesome and positivity for the sake of numbers. Not worth it. And I really did not focus on platform growth this year. It just wasn't a priority for me. Personal, maintain a daily journal. Definitely not daily, but definitely a few times a week I journaled, and I have such a wordy brain that has been life-changing for me. Just being able to process my thoughts, understanding why I might be overthinking stuff, and being able to communicate that to people. And then this is one of the things I'm most proud of this year, is investing in the people who are most meaningful in my life. That was a huge goal for this year. Realizing who really matters to me and then treating them that way. Yes, making new friends, and yes, exploring, but first making sure that these important people know they're important. And I wrote my book and I'm so happy. This time last year, I could not have even fathomed that this would be finished and that I would hold it and that it's a real book. I was just so scared and stressed about it, and I didn't tell you guys about the book. So even though I made all these resolutions about it, like I didn't really share it. And yesterday I found out that I sold 10,000 books in 4 months, which is unfathomable again. And I'm just so proud because I feel like I poured my year into this book and a lot of my heart and life and learning. So I'm super proud that this exists. Still doing well academically. I said I wanted to work for a 5 in one course, which is like the highest you can get, and it's so impossibly hard. And I did get a 5 in one of my courses. So boom, we did that. Oh, I'm really intrigued. What does this day next year look like? I will be 21 years old, hopefully sitting in the UK with my family. I miss them. Last year, the UK borders shut, so I couldn't come home for Christmas. That just gave me chills just now because, wow, I'm so lucky that I'm with them now. Maybe in a relationship. And hopefully, having finished my book, I want to feel as though I poured my heart into that work. I want to know that it's helping people. Yes, Jade, you did achieve that. I will have good mental health. I will have focused so much on my brain and therapy and meditation and exercise and all that good stuff that I'm not overthinking as much. I've definitely been through some incredibly rough patches mentally this year. I don't really share the grit of my bad mental episodes online because it's not conducive to my mental health. I do overthink a lot, I do doubt myself a lot, I'm quite an anxious person, but right now I do feel mentally very good, and I'm proud that this year that was a priority. So that's what I wanted for last year. Today I took 2 hours to reflect on what were my favourite parts of this year. I'm linking the template down below if you'd like to use it, but I asked myself these following questions. Some of this is quite personal, so I'm not going to show you. Notion makes it very intuitive to have different features on the page. So what you do is you do a / and you've got all these options. You can make a bullet note, a to-do list, a whole new page if you want to expand a lot on what you're about to say. But here I've used a feature called a toggle, and I can basically ask myself a question and answer it down below. So say, for example, if you could have changed one thing about 2021, what would it be and why? And then I click this and I can write it inside. What would I have changed? I don't believe in having regrets earlier. So I can write that and then I click this toggle and it just closes again. Then I've created similar questions for what I want to have in 2022. How do I want to feel? What does this year mean to me? What am I looking forward to? What am I worried about? What do I want to learn more about and develop? What am I committed to? And what does this day, today, look like in a year? Let's have a look at some of the goals. So within each section, I've also got a continue. There are certain habits that worked really well from last year that I would like to continue. So fitness and health, I similarly want to continue doing yoga. I want to meditate every day for 10 minutes. But my next semester I'm living in London, and I'm not much of a gym gal because honestly the gym intimidates me a lot. But my brother is really into the gym and I feel very inspired by him. He's super dedicated and I would love to try going to the gym. Not just for the aesthetics, although yes, I would love a gorgeous bum, please. It's a bit flat down there right now, which is fine. I still love her. But yeah, that's a goal. That's interesting to experiment with. Consistent skincare routine. I've almost got it down, but I just, you know, sometimes I'm not consistent. Meal prep. I'm living with my friends in London, so I'm really excited to create some good cooking habits. Healthy food, we love it. Interesting one, skills-wise, I would love to become a better filmmaker. I have never formally learned how to do anything in editing, filming, lighting, like all of it. I'm so bad at tech and camera settings. I don't like it, but I'd like to invest in that because it makes sense as a skill for me to have. So yeah, perhaps in summer, but just generally throughout the year, I'd like to do that. As a skill, I want to get better at having difficult conversations and leaning into them and openly communicating even when it's hard in order to have myself heard or develop a relationship. Learning. I bloody love cognition, metacognition, and I specifically want to learn more about the metacognition of mindfulness meditation. I want to learn more about the cognition of the science of learning, and I'm going to propose a tutorial with one of my professors at uni. I want to learn more about edtech. This year, I ended up learning so much about startups. One of my best friends at uni has effectively started her own edtech in Vietnam, which is incredible. I've learned so much from her and I've realized I'm really interested in the space as someone who loves studying and education. So yeah, we'll explore that this year. Also, because I'm living in England, I would love to learn more about Britain's colonial past. I'm really treating London like I've never been there before and like it's a brand new city. YouTube, I want to focus more on TikTok. Why not? My roommate in London is amazing. She's a TikToker for fun. Like she doesn't do it for followers. She just loves the dances and the vibes. Personal, a huge theme for this year is career. What do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do post-uni? What fulfills me? Do I want to continue doing this YouTube freelance beautiful thing here and turning that into something? Do I want to do a master's in something to do with cognitive science? Like what do I want to do? I don't know. Second huge theme is learning how to set boundaries. I'm a people pleaser. I said that last year. I said that the year before. I've said it every single year because it's just true. I recently listened to a lot of audiobooks about setting boundaries and I'm gonna do it. A bad bitch sets boundaries. So yeah, even though I love people and I love time with people, being cognizant of my battery and making sure I'm investing a lot in that battery and never depleting it. No burnout for me. Healthy boundaries, loving relationships, open communication, we love that. And then also personal, I want to explore my sexuality. Personal projects, I would love to create some NFTs. I've learned a bit about crypto, a bit about OpenSea. I know a little bit, dabbled a bit, but why not? I think the best way to learn is by doing, so maybe we'll see. I'd also love to create an app for fun. Why not? We'll see. I absolutely loved running a reset challenge for you guys when I was like 16 and I did another mini one last year. And who knows, maybe I could turn that into an app. Academic, next year I'm gonna start my final year. So I need to work out what I wanna do for my capstone dissertation, which is like a huge theme for next year. How do I want to feel? I want to feel like a bad bitch. I want to feel free. I want to feel in control. What does this year mean to me? Of course I'm worried about things. Everyone's worried about things. Like life isn't perfect. But I am committing to who I want to be next year, how I want to feel, how I want to do life. I am coming to understand myself more and more and more. We always are. And using that knowledge, I can craft my environment, the people around me, habits to be the best version of me. And I'm going to commit to that. The beauty of Notion is that it helps make goals tangible. Rather than just saying, oh, I want to read more, you can create a reading tracker. Rather than saying, oh, I want to listen to podcasts, you can create a place to write down your reflections about the podcasts that you listen to and come back to them, track it. If you want to journal more, you can create a template for a daily journal prompt. I've got one that I can link down below. New Year's resolutions are often arbitrary, often vague, and they're often about aesthetics or things that we think we should be rather than what we truly authentically want to be. So I encourage you to take the time to look inside yourself, answer these reflection questions in depth about your year, about who you want to be next year. Yeah, and ask who you want to be. Not just what you want to look like, not just what you want to achieve, but who do you want to be and why? How do you want to feel? What kind of energy do you want to create the space for? And remember, time is arbitrary and human defined. You can always reset your life at any point. If you're watching this in June, It's a great time to set some resolutions. Why not? You don't need to wait for January. 2021, she brought us challenges, she served us well, she did her best. But 2022, my friends, this is our year. Something beautiful from last year's video was people commented a New Year's resolution that they wanted to have for the next year, and it served as accountability for their future self. If you commented, you can go back to that video and you can see what you intended for yourself. Please use the comment section here as the same thing. Comment one resolution publicly to the world, accountability to yourself that you can return to in 1 year as a mantra for something you want to carry into next year. What is it? What's the energy? What's the goal? Who do you want to be? Give me some of that in the comments and maybe you'll inspire someone else. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to Notion for sponsoring today's video and have a good one. Bye.